You are listening to The Michael Lodge Show. Wealth, business, and taxes. Oh yeah, and some politics. Let's get started.
And it's Saturday morning, and I'm glad that you're with me. I love these kind of days when it's kind of cloudy, kind of sunny out. That's what it is right now in Palm Beach. I like it. Been paying attention lately. Hopefully you've been paying attention to what's happening in the corporate world, where the corporate decision makers have decided that they need to be woke, W-O-K-E. They need to be politically insightful on how they change or teach their employees on racism. Unfortunately, what they're doing is they're increasing racism because they're teaching a philosophy that says every individual is racist. So basically what they're doing is they're teaching a lie. They're teaching a political agenda that is very dangerous. And if you go back in history, you can see what has happened of how societies have been changed for the worse because of a political agenda. Anytime it's a political agenda, it's bad. So American Express has done it. A whole bunch of companies are out there doing it. And this race theory is very dangerous because now it's really teaching racism and how people are to think about race and how things are unequal and unjustified and everything else. So I said, let me Google. I love Google. So I spent some time this morning and I went on and I wanted to know what is the real meaning of woke, W-O-K-E. So what it says, as an informal term, that people who are woke are alert to injustice in society, especially racism. We need to stay angry and stay woke. Now see, the word angry, it just doesn't fit, right? Anger does not resolve anything. Anger, I'm a mediator, so I sit down and mediate with angry people all the time, and we have to diffuse anger very quickly because anger does not resolve anything. In fact, it prolongs it and makes it longer and longer and longer. Those individuals who come into my mediation angry, it takes us a long time to resolve the issue. And that's why they could never resolve it, because of this anger. So we've got to dissolve that anger if you want to try and solve anything or resolve anything. So then I wanted to know exactly how would you use woke in a sentence. Google again came back with this. A term refers to being aware of social movements. Woke was officially added into the Oxford English Dictionary as an adjective. In June of 2017, the dictionary defines it as originally well-informed, up-to-date, now chiefly alert to racial or social discrimination and injustice. The problem with woke is that it creates more injustice, it creates more racism, because that is not the real objective. It is a political objective to divide. And that's what we see so much in these companies. Like, I'll give you a good example. And now, I don't particularly care for this individual. She always sounds angry to me. Excuse me. And so, Candace Owen was, because she travels so much and she's in foreign countries, she needs to get a COVID testing. So she was trying to arrange for this COVID testing with this one company, and the owner of the company came back and said, I'm sorry, I'm not going to be able to serve you because I don't believe in your politics. I don't like the politics that you're spending, so I'm not going to serve you. I'm not going to give you a test. That situation becomes very discriminatory just in that method of her response. Now, here you have somebody who needs to have a COVID test, and you have an individual who won't give the COVID test to somebody because she doesn't believe in that person's political views. And now we have companies who say, okay, if you do not believe in the political agenda of this company, you can no longer work for this company. We're asking you to leave. And we have the same thing in hospitals now, where we have individuals who do not believe that they should be mandated to have a COVID vaccine, and so they're asked to leave because they do not believe in that agenda. So we have hospitals that are now woke, not because of racial issues, but because of discriminative issues on people who are vaccinated and people who are not vaccinated. You have people who believe in racial theories, and so if you don't believe in their belief, then you will no longer have a job. So we have woke who has broke the American system. Woke has broke the American system. So I wanted to say, okay, well, what is the opposite of woke? And this is what Google came back with. Lulled, slept, catnapped, dozed, hibernated, snoozed, dropped off, nodded off, fell asleep, fallen asleep. And there's like 26 more rows that I'm not going to read because I just don't think that it's worth it. We have a very serious situation in America at the moment where we are discriminating against individuals because they do not believe the way that we believe. Will it become the event that hospitals will not service you because you don't believe in their political agenda? See, the problem with COVID is now it's become a political agenda. It's no longer about health. It's no longer about healing those individuals that have COVID. It is about a political agenda. If you don't get the jab, then you cannot come into this establishment. You can't come into this medical clinic. You cannot come into this hospital. I am not going to serve you because you do not believe the way that I believe. You see, that's wrong. That is discrimination. That's racism right there. That's political racism right there. When you are discriminating against other people because they don't believe in your political beliefs. Once you have taken a infection, a virus, and turned it into a political method of getting people to comply, then it's no longer about the healthcare issue. I have long said this, and I'm going to say it over and over and over again. You guys have paid so much attention to the vaccine, but you've paid no attention to how to properly care for individuals who have the vaccine. What is the most successful methods? What is the studies that are out there? What are the hospitals doing to make sure that their healthcare system can respond to this virus? Nothing. They have arguments going back and forth of what does work, what doesn't work, what doctors say, and what other doctors say, and they're all fighting within each other because they have not focused on the care and treatment of this virus. So all of you are out there pushing this vaccine, but the vaccine isn't working. It's failing. People are still getting COVID. I don't care how many jabs you're going to give people, they're still going to get COVID. This is a virus that moves. It transforms. It changes every time that the weather changes or it hits different types of populations. There are people that are going to continue to get sick from this no matter what kind of a jab you have. So the focus should really be not on discriminating against other people who won't take the jab because that's their own personal healthcare decision, but it comes down to what are the hospitals in the healthcare and the science community doing about the treatment of this virus, because this virus is not going to go away. So I'm sorry, but your wokeness has broke the healthcare system. You have broken the belief in healthcare anymore. When you see things not working, but you're still trying to push it on people, you had better stop and think just a little bit. Stop trying to be woke and start focusing on the treatment of this virus. And until you do that, this thing is going to go on and get worse upon worse because you're not focusing on the treatment. This virus is a virus just like the cold and the flu and all this other SARS and one virus and everything else that was out there. They're still out there. The flu has never been cured by a shot. So until you start focusing on the application of the healthcare treatment on individuals, you're not going to stop the virus. You never will. But you can focus on the treatment and make sure that people get through this and heal properly. So you can go out there and you can be woke and you can be all this stuff. But let me tell you, corporations, your wokeness is no longer acceptable. And those of you who are going to push your political agenda, you're going to lose out on many Americans who have had it with politics within the corporate world. Those of you who are trying to push a political agenda upon your employees who are doing a good job, but you're still trying to push that political agenda, and if that employee who's a good employee does not believe in you, you're firing them. You're letting them go. That is unacceptable. We have seen this. I mean, it started from day one because as soon as the Democrats and the Republicans began pushing this thing, it became a political issue. I think I've had it with all these companies. I mean, I took American Express for my business, and I've now said, okay, if they're going to push a political agenda upon me, then perhaps I should not deal with them anymore. If Coca-Cola is going to push their political agenda on me, the consumer, I have other choices. I can go other places. I don't need to go into an establishment and hear about their political beliefs. That's not what I go there for. That's not why I drink Coke. That's not why I take American Express. I take it because it's a convenience to the people out there. But perhaps I need to start making choices also. If they're going to start pushing a political agenda on me, then perhaps I don't need to have them around. If you're going to push something on other people, even your employees, politics should never be within a company. Every single corporation out there should have employee guidelines on how to approach politics within the company. And if it is taking time, and if it is taking consumers away from using your product because now they've got to focus on their political beliefs, then you're worthless. Why should we even use you? My God, I want you to look at this very carefully. Individuals, not individuals, but corporations in the media who have pushed their political beliefs have suffered greatly. They have. If you look at CNN, their numbers are way down because of the way that they have preached this nonsense of racism and hatred and everything else in this country. They push their own political agenda, and now they can hardly even be watched because the American people have had it with them. They don't want to deal with it anymore. Fox News has lost their reputation also because of their political views. So see, if you're not going to report the true news, you're going to lose viewers because now you're pushing a political agenda that we don't want to hear. And we certainly don't want to hear it from Nike. We certainly don't want to hear it from Coca-Cola. We certainly don't want to hear it from American Express. We certainly don't want to hear it from American Airlines. Or we don't want to hear it from Delta. We don't want to hear this nonsense. So we have a problem. I'm going to read you something that I posted today. And it has to do with successful people. And it said this, and it was anonymous. No one knows who wrote this, but it's out there. And it says this: successful people wake up early, talk less, stay laser focused, don't waste time, live healthy, and ignore nonsense. So you corporations out there who are pushing the political agenda and pushing nonsense, you have the American people to answer to, because we're tired of it. Every single day we have some company coming out with some statement in support of some political thought process that is nonsense to us Americans. Let me read that sentence one more time. Successful people wake up early, talk less, stay laser focused, don't waste time, live healthy, and ignore nonsense. So you and the corporations out there, your board of directors should be looking very carefully to what you're doing internally to your employees. I want you to wake up. I want you to talk less. I want you to stay laser focused on your business and not political issues. Stop wasting time. Encourage your employees to live healthy. And ignore nonsense. Instead of creating nonsense, ignore it and focus, laser focus on your business, because that's where you need to be. But you're not, because you feel like you need to be woke. Stop this wokeness. You're breaking up your company. Listen, as a mediator, and when I have to go into companies and I have to resolve issues, I want you to understand one thing. When you create conflict within your own employee setting, you are wasting money, because no one knows who they should talk to. No one knows who they should support. No one knows who their leader is. No one knows nothing about that company anymore, because you're pushing a political agenda. Political agendas and corporations is a corrupt way to destroy it. And you board of directors out there, you stockholders who are putting money into these woke companies, you're going to be broke one of these days, because these guys are going to run their businesses into the ground. No one's going to want to work there anymore because of such a hostile type environment. A conservative can't go into Coca-Cola anymore because they know that Coca-Cola is so far liberal, so far to the left, that their political thought process will be denied to them, will be discriminated against. They will not probably even be hired. They'll go back and review this individual because of their political views. That is the worst kind of business you can ever invest in. A business who is willing to discriminate against their own employees based on politics is not worth to invest in, nor are they worth to work for. This wokeness has got to stop. Because now, see, when you start pushing your political politics onto the consumer, we consumers say, well, maybe I don't want to do business with them anymore because they are now pushing their politics on me. You see, every individual in this country is important. We don't judge people by how they believe. We don't judge people by how they raise their children or how they run their businesses. We've never been that type of individual. We want everyone to be ethical. We want them to be ethically smart about how they treat other people and how they treat vendors and consumers and everything else. Ethics is the most important thing. And the problem with most of corporate America is that they have forgotten about their ethics because it's been overpowered by political agendas, political consumption, if you want to put it that way. So we have an issue, and we have got to resolve this very quickly, or this country is going to go in a direction that you and I will never be able to retrieve it again. Never get it back. You know, it used to be that people would go to their jobs to perform a task, to get their promotions, to rise to the top, to gain their knowledge. That's why they went for these companies to work for. Now it's become about their political views. And once you start corrupting a corporation with individuals who want to push their political views upon other employees and consumers, you've now corrupted your corporation. You're no longer an ethical corporation. Politics is not an ethical game. It's not an ethical profession. It's not an ethical entity. If you look at Washington, D.C., you can see how unethical it has become. But yet you want that same environment within your corporation. And I'm telling you, as we watch America fail, we're going to watch your corporation fail too, because now you have corrupted your corporation with politics. And Americans want to stay clear away from individuals or corporations that have a political agenda, because political agendas have failed every single time. You're no longer focused as a corporation. You're no longer focused on the consumer. You're no longer focused on the stockholder. You're no longer focused on your employees. No, instead you want to push a political agenda that takes everybody down to a low, disgusting, devilish level. If you don't clear out your corporations of politics, you will never be respected again. You will never be seen as a corporation. Well, gosh, I would really like to work for that corporation. No, they're going to stay away from you because they see that it's a heated, disgusting mess within your corporation because you've corrupted it with politics. So on this Saturday, I really want you to think about this word ethics. I just took a tax law class. Of course, the first lesson is on ethics. You see, we in various professions, we have to adhere to a code of ethics. Right now, when I'm doing this podcast, right beside my microphone, I have from the American Accounting Association, I have what is called the Code of Ethics. And it tells me what my responsibilities are as an accountant is. If you look at my tax practice, we have a code of ethics that we have to live by. IRS has a code of ethics that tell us how we need to do our job. The Federal Trade Commission, because tax practitioners are also registered under the Federal Trade Commission at the same level as bank when it has to do with data security for our clients. You see, we have these codes of ethics as professions. Even I myself as a mediator, I have a code of ethics that I have got to live by. If I stray from that code of ethics, then I'm not looked on very well. So when corporations stray from any type of ethical code that they may have and start corrupting it with politics, guess how we look at you? We look at you as scum. So you corporations out there, focus on your ethics. If you need help, call me and I'll come in and we'll talk about ethics. And we'll put some ethical guidelines together. But you've got to wipe out this political forget it. This political agenda from your corporation. Because you're literally destroying your corporations. People are looking at you and say, those guys are idiots. Why would I even want to deal with a corporation that has such a political view that they're willing to hurt other people with it? They're willing to terminate people because they don't believe the same way that you believe. I tell you, several months ago, this happened in 2020. I was approached out of a company, and I've told this story before, but I'll repeat it again because it has to do everything with what I'm talking about today. I was approached by a corporation out of Oakland, California, and the manager was really concerned because he had 3 good employees, but they would not. There was a conflict because of politics. 2 of the employees wanted another employee fired because of the way that he believed politically. And the manager said, these are 3 good employees. I don't want to have to fire anybody. They're good employees. The problem is that the company did not have a employee handbook that addressed what can be talked about politically in a company. And there are some very specific rules. I've written about this so many times. But if you're going to allow conflict to devour within your company and devour those individuals who don't believe the same way, and they're fighting, and it's creating tension, and it's creating high cost because no one's getting their work done because of the tension, because of the conflict, because of the dispute. I think I've said enough. On this Saturday morning, each and every single one of you, if you're a leader in a company, if you own a business, if you're a manager, excuse me, if you're a manager in a business, if you're a supervisor, ask the question, what are our ethics in this business on the issue of politics? My personal belief is politics should not be within companies. I mean, you're going to talk about it every once in a while. But if you're going to push an agenda, if you're going to get stressful about the individuals in your company that do not believe the same way you do, then you're going to cause a conflict within that company. And it's happening every single day. And we're going to have to address it more and more under mediation because it becomes very heated. And sometimes managers just cannot solve a heated situation. I mean, it's easy to fire individuals who are creating a conflict, but it's also very important to understand why that conflict is bubbling, getting heated, overflowing into the other parts of your workplace. It's because leaders do not address the issue of political agendas and stop them. Stop them. Listen, today's Saturday, focus on ethics. Ask those questions on whether or not if your company is responding to these political situation, political agendas ethically. Are you woke and are you broke because of political agendas? Ethics is so very important. So that's it for the day. I got to go out and take my dogs out today and let them have a little bit of fresh air. Even though it's going to be 90 some degrees, I still got to go out and be a good, responsible pet owner because they need some exercise. If you like my content, if you like my podcasts, if you like my vlogs and blogs and everything else I do, go to www.buymeacoffee.com/Michael Lodge. Again, that's www.buymeacoffee.com/Michael Lodge. All of them are there. My blogs, my vlogs, my podcasts, everything is there. If you have a business question and if you would like to ask it of me, I'll be more than happy to answer it. Send it to mediator at lodge, LODGE-CO.com. Again, that's mediator at lodge-CO.com. Everybody, this is an order from this podcaster. Go out and have a great day. God bless. Talk with you soon. Bye-bye. This podcast is produced by Michael Lodge, fully focused on content.